Mark,
Hmm?
there are just too many people in the library. I thought you might show some of them your rooms.
I don't know, Carrie. I haven't seen them myself since I came back. Celia, I told you about them in Mexico.
Yes, Mark, I'd love to see them if you have to, Mark, to split them up. I'll suggest games to the others.
Very well, Carrie. Let's go and see how many customers we have.
Rooms?
Mark has a hobby. He collects rooms like some people collect butterflies. They're somehow connected with happy events. He has a theory.
But under certain conditions, a room can influence or even determine the actions of the people living in it. Now, the first room that you're about to see is the salon of the Comtesse de Bleu-Manoir. It was sealed by her husband on the morning of August 25th, 1572.
Beautiful. Gorgeous.
I first heard of it in Paris 9 years ago. It started my collection.
Well, it must have cost considerable to copy a room like this.
It isn't a copy. These are the original rooms, down to the last detail, as much as possible.
I bet there's a love story.
Not exactly.
What happened?
Murder, my dear. It was the eve of St. Bartholomew's Day. The Guise family, to which the Count belonged, had planned, you will recall, to murder all the Huguenots in Paris. The Count was a religious bigot. When he discovered that his beloved wife, Celeste, was secretly a Huguenot, she was nothing to him anymore. A thing without a soul. She was lying on the chaise longue, reading, when he came in.
Did he poison her?
Why? Oh, you mean the glass? No, that was wine. But if you'll notice the handkerchief on the couch, there's a little blood. There was a rapier thrust. In room number 2, the weapon was less conventional. The killer used the floods of 1913. This was the cellar of a house in Barton, Missouri, where the floods were especially severe. He was a sordid little rat.
Who was the victim?
His mother.
That's rather rare.
Murder of a mother by her son?
She's a brain psych major.
In many cases, the murder of a girlfriend or a wife has its psychological roots in an unconscious hatred for the mother.
As I see it, the motive was common as dirt. The old lady was insured. He tied her to that chair. The waters were rising. You can see how high the waters rose. Don Ignacio couldn't stand the sight of blood. He was a cultivated man. As you can see by this room, even in the wilderness of Paraguay, in his hacienda surrounded by desolate pampas, he lived a cosmopolitan life. He'd been educated in Paris. To Don Ignacio, murder, as well as love, was a fine art. And in both, he was a master and a perfectionist. Constancia, Maria, Isabella, they were all girls of flawless beauty. Before Don Ignacio faced the firing squad, he swore that he never intended to murder. But what he hoped for was an ultimate and lasting love. But something. He spoke of an unholy emanation from this room, drove him inevitably to kill.
Pretty far-fetched.
To Don Ignacio, it seemed the most apt.
A pity for him that in his day nothing was known yet about psychoanalysis.
You think the room had nothing to do with it?
Of course it did. Very important. Something happened to him here. Perhaps in his childhood, and he'd made a resolution in this room to kill. His conscious mind had forgotten all about it, but...
But he still killed.
Match. But he didn't know why. He just had to. But if he'd been able to tell someone, like a psychoanalyst, what it was that happened here, no murder would have been necessary.
Unless, of course, his love for his victims made it necessary. Now, our next murderer, compared to Don Ignacio, was a blundering amateur.
Didn't you say happy events?
I'm sure that's what Mark said. I must have misunderstood him. Mark wouldn't lie to me.